In addition to sort of a broader sensitivity and concern about HIV issues coming from the White House, we've seen some specific examples of really positive change. And one of those is new guidelines that were issued by the Department of Justice regarding state occupational licensing rules. And in response to advocacy by us and some of our partners, the Department of Justice came out with new rules explaining that when state licensing rules for example, for barbers or for massage therapists or home health aides that have to pass certain kinds of state exams, when those rules say people with communicable diseases can't work, those can't be interpreted in a way to include HIV or other kinds of diseases that are not communicated through casual contact or through the sort of day-to-day duties of those kinds of jobs. And so whereas in the past we've had clients who were denied entrance into cosmetology school because they were HIV positive, we've had clients who were denied their massage license because they were HIV positive, even though, you know, in neither of those contexts is there any risk of transmission of HIV. We really hope that with the new guidelines that have come out that won't happen anymore, and we'll have a strong advocacy tool to use in our state work. Another really great change has been finally the lifting of the travel ban, which again is sort of been that restricted the entry of HIV positive people into the country. And there were waivers eligible, but they were cumbersome, and it was an incredibly stigmatizing ban that suggested that somehow people with HIV weren't fit to come into this country. We were one of a very, very small handful of countries that had this kind of a ban, and it really set us apart from, you know, the kind of society that I think we wanted to be. And it was extraordinarily stigmatizing and kept families apart and kept researchers out of the country. And so to finally have movement on that and to have the clarification that HIV is not the kind of condition that somebody should be kept out of this country because of, I think is a real step forward. And ending, you know, in my mind, ending all forms of government-sponsored discrimination is one of the most important things we can work for to setting the right kind of example for the private sector, which will then, you know, can follow that lead. But it's very, very hard for us to argue that, you know, it's not fair to treat people with HIV differently when our own government is doing that.